Hi, Rick here, and today I'm going to be making an inking plate slash paint palette. And I'm going to do that by using a piece of glass. This is just a piece of regular window glass. This is an 8 by 10 piece, and a lot of people use window glass for these purposes. The problem with it is, if you're just using the glass, it's very easy to shatter it or cut yourself on the edge or crack it. And one way around this that I've seen is to just use duct tape and tape it down to a piece of cardboard or a piece of plywood. This has its own problems, one of which is that you can't easily take up the glass to clean it or to put something underneath it. I'm going to get around that by doing something a little different. Here's how I'm going to do it. So the next thing I want to do is take some duct tape. This is white duct tape. It can be any color. Just make sure that it's a good quality so that it's nice and sticky underneath. Some of the cheaper brands tend to be not so sticky. I'm going to hook this to the edge of the glass, pull out enough so that there's it's at least as long as the glass. Then I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and slit it right down the center. Close as I can get to the center. And I'm going to do this to that piece. I'll slit that half down the center, so I end up with 4/4 roughly. And another. And cut this off above where the lines are so that they're not hanging free and able to entangle with each other. And I'm going to set this aside for a minute. Put it over here, out of the way. Be careful that you don't get them all stuck together. Alright, so now I want to take the strips that I cut and put them along the edge of the glass. And to do that, I want the glass upright so it's easier for me. So I'm going to take a couple of heavy books and use them to hold the glass up for me so I can do this. I'm going to cut free one of the strips from the tape carefully so as not to entangle it with the others. Line that up along the top edge of the glass as best I can. Cut off the extra on the ends. Push that along. Now I'm going to take the edge of a tool here and just burnish that a little bit to make sure that it's good and stuck down. If you were concerned about it, you could use a heat gun or a hair blower to heat this up a little bit. It would make the glue that much more tacky. I don't think it's necessary with this particular brand of tape. And then we're going to put the glass back in, get another piece, and go all around the edge. Alright, so now I have a piece of glass that's a little easier to handle because I don't have to worry about cutting myself on the edges. So we'll put the books away, clean up a little bit, move on to step 2. So for the next part, we're going to need a piece of foam board. This is a piece of foam board that I bought from the dollar store. It's a little banged up because it's been in the closet for a while, but for our purposes it'll be fine. I'm going to make a frame for the glass, and I'm going to make the frame as wide as my ruler is, just to make it easy. So draw a line here. And across the top. Line it up with the edge. And put the piece of glass on there. Line that up with the edges, not too close. I don't want it to be too tight. Draw around the glass. And I can use the ruler to finish the outline of the frame. So now that I have that all outlined, I'm going to cut out the center section, make a hole for the glass to sit into. And I'm using an X-Acto knife. And then cut around the frame itself. I'm going to take this, knock out another one. This is going to be for the bottom. Take the original piece and cut out, make sure that the center's cut all the way through. Carefully pull this part out. And I want to make sure that the glass is going to fit in there fairly easily, and it does. So the next step will be to glue these two pieces together. So now I have my hot glue gun ready, and I'm going to put some glue on there. Doesn't have to be hot glue, it can be any kind of glue. Get that all the way around. Line it up at the edges. And press it down. Flip it over. I want to make sure that that gets good and stuck. I'm going to set it aside, make sure that it dries. So this is the frame for our pane of glass, but I don't want to go dropping the glass in just yet because the foam board is thicker than the glass. And if we drop the glass in, it's going to set lower than the foam board. It's still going to be difficult to get out. So what I've gone and done is I found a piece of cardboard that was about half the thickness of that of the foam board. And this happens to be a piece of cardboard from a pizza box from Pizza Hut. It's very thin corrugated cardboard, just the right size. If you're going to use this, you need to try and get it before the pizza gets the cardboard all greasy. So what I'm going to do is lay this cardboard down, trace out my pane of glass on it, and I want to cut it on the inside of the line so it'll fit into the hole in our frame easily. I'm going to do that with a pair of scissors. We'll make sure that it fits. It will fit in there nicely. But I'm not done with it yet. I'm going to flip it over to the back side, and I'm going to take a piece of ribbon. This is a roll of ribbon I bought from the dollar store. I'm going to cut off about 4 inches of it. Doesn't have to be ribbon. You could use a piece of thin cloth or something like that. I'm going to put some glue down on the back of the board. Put the ribbon into it about halfway. Use a piece of this scrap cardboard. And just to be safe, I'm going to put a piece of tape over it also. Alright, now I take my frame, I drop this backing board in, put the pane of glass on top of it. Now the pane of glass is about even with the top of the frame, and I can easily get it out by pulling on the ribbon. I don't have to worry about cutting my fingers because I've put the edging around the edges. If you're using it as a paint palette, you can now lift it up, put white or gray or brown paper beneath the glass so that your paint hues will show depending on what you're using for a primer on your canvas. And of course, it can be used just as it is for an inking plate. Now you can use this just the way it is, but just for some added protection, I'm going to go all the way around the frame with some black duct tape. So, there it is, all finished, ready to use. The only other thing I would recommend is that you cut a piece of foam board or a heavy piece of cardboard to put over the top. You can put an elastic around it. When you put it on the shelf when you're not using it, there's a lot less chance that you'll crack the glass. So I hope this was helpful to you. Please like and subscribe below.